Ugh, why did no one tell me it was Christmas already? Great, I'm nowhere near festive enough for this. Hold on. Wait. I don't even have a game to review. You know what? No big deal. No big deal. How about we watch a movie instead? Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Movies aren't exactly my expertise, but I'll stick close to what I know and review a movie based on a video game. Yeah, video game movies don't have such a good track record, do they? They're either made to make money off of a recognizable brand name, or in Uwe Boll's case, to exploit German tax laws. But there has to be at least one video game movie that has elements that fans can recognize from the game, and a story that doesn't confuse those unfamiliar with the source material. And I think I found it. Let me introduce Dobutsu no Mori, and while the title may be unfamiliar, most of us have played the game this movie is based on. That's right, it's Animal Crossing. Released only in Japan in December of 2006, Dobutsu no Mori was an attempt to bring the world of Animal Crossing to the big screen. From what I could tell, it seemed to be based more on the newest game at the time, Animal Crossing Wild World. Didn't I review that once? Actually, let's forget about that. Why don't we see how this movie holds up? Starting off, it looks promising. I mean, the first scene is literally the first thing that happens when you start the game. The movie tells the story of a girl named Ai who moves into the aptly named Animal Village. Of course, she gets there in the taxi driven by Kapp'n. Yes, I know he's a kappa and not a turtle, but I'm not going to apologize for getting it wrong the first time, because outside of Japan, he's a fucking turtle. So after checking in at the town hall, Ai goes to see Tom Nook for the key to her house, and instead of getting the key, she is somewhat forced into working for Nook to deliver items. And yeah, that's kinda lame, but at least she got a bike. You got lucky, Ai. The rest of us had to go hunt everyone down on foot. So Ai goes around meeting recognizable characters from the game like Alfonso, Bouquet, Sally, and Bianca, that fabulous bitch. She also meets this failed Naruto cosplayer named Yu, who is clearly using an action replay because apparently he can hold two nets at once. Yeah, I don't really like this guy. Over the next few days, we see that Ai continues to work for Tom Nook, and this leads her to meeting a character that they really could have left out of the movie, Resetti. I guess he's mad because Ai fell in Apollo's garden. I mean, I get it. Blue roses are a big fucking deal in Animal Crossing, but why does Resetti care? It's not his house. So when Ai goes to find Apollo at the cafe in the museum, she gets scared by some spooky scary dinosaur skeletons, but she also gets to meet Blathers, who tells her that only one dinosaur is missing in the whole museum. Which doesn't entirely fit with the game, but we can just say she's the second human to move in, and then it's canon. Now, something you might notice while watching this movie is that it reflects the chill atmosphere of the game. There doesn't really seem to be any urgency to move the plot forwards, and a lot of the scenes are just Ai hanging out with her friends and characters talking to each other, and the conversations they have are similar to the dialogue from the games. To me, it sort of feels like watching someone else play Animal Crossing Wild World for the first time, and seeing them discovering new things and meeting new friends. For that reason, this movie makes me feel very nostalgic, even though it's not the movie itself I feel nostalgic about. Like this scene of Ai walking on the beach at night and finding a message in a bottle saying a miracle will happen if she plants pine trees. It reminds me of how I used to stay up late at night playing Animal Crossing, finding cool things on the shore. I can't get over how much this feels like the game. And speaking of the game, I'm now completely convinced that Yu has an action replay. Look, he can run away from Resetti. Fucking cheater. There's also a scene where he rides a boat into a cave, and that wasn't in the game, so he's definitely using some sort of ROM hack. And while they're in the cave, what a shock, Ai finds the exact fossil that the museum was missing. Yu tries to go get it, but apparently his cheat codes broke the game so much that the cave starts to collapse. You know, all jokes aside, I actually like that the movie has the freedom to be different from the games in some spots, but it almost seems like the movie felt it needed to overcompensate for that one very different scene by having another scene be too much like the game, if that makes sense. The next scene is a festival where KK Slider is performing, and he talks normally, with a nice reference to the original Animal Crossing, I might add.
昔は駅前で歌っていたけど、今は土曜の夜、鳩の巣っていうカフェでライブをしているんだ。
But when he starts singing... back to the game, yeah, but you can't just give a character a normal voice and then suddenly turn him into a Vocaloid when he starts singing. But then it balances itself out with another scene that works in relation to the game, and as an emotional scene too. You may remember from the game how you get a letter from a villager the day after they move away. Well, I finds out that Sally moved away to become a fashion designer without telling her. And granted, the reason Sally gives in her letter for keeping it a secret is kind of weak, but it is still a genuinely sad scene whether you're familiar with the game or not. Then suddenly it's winter, and we find out that Ai has been planting pine trees all over town to make a miracle happen during the winter festival. Well, either a miracle or a UFO visit, whichever comes first. But then, rather randomly I think, a UFO falls from the sky and crashes in Animal Village. The guy who crashed the UFO is Gulliver, who was also in the UFO in the game, but I wouldn't know because I could never fucking hit it with my slingshot. He asked the villagers to help him find the missing parts of his spaceship. Yu says he saw a piece fall into the cave from earlier, so they go there to find it. And holy shit, Sally came back. And it's at a rather convenient time, too, because she helps them get into the blocked-off cave. And also, what a shock, the UFO part just so happens to be right at the top of the giant dinosaur fossil. So Yu has to climb it in what I guess is supposed to be a tense scene, but the tension is somewhat diminished by Yu's ridiculous bunny costume. But they manage to get the part anyway. Oh no, Yu's fine. He just probably has several broken bones and a concussion now. Just get him some medicine from Nook's Cranny and he'll be fine. So they bring the part back to Gulliver, who keeps randomly saying some words in English.
Yes! 1, 2, 3, 4... What? Oh no!
But then they see some real UFOs appear above them and discover the ship part they found is... alive? Now, to be fair, this whole thing with the UFO would probably make no sense to someone who wasn't familiar with the games, but even though I am, this still confuses the fuck out of me. Like I said, I never actually hit the UFO in Wild World, so I wouldn't know firsthand, but I'm pretty sure that this is not something from the game. Matter of fact, there really wasn't any reason to have real aliens show up. But I guess it is a true Animal Crossing moment because everyone is so chill about it. Like, yeah, we just discovered extraterrestrial life, but the Winter Festival is a bit more important, so let's get back to that. So Ai wins an award because the aliens drew her face in the sky, the mayor gets reelected, and Gulliver fucks off to parts unknown. It's then revealed that Gulliver sent the bottle messages that told Ai to make a shape on the island that somehow accidentally attracted real aliens.
まさか本物の UFO を呼び寄せてしまうとは。
Right. The end. Okay, so after all that, is there any reason for this movie to exist? Well, no. The movie has almost no real plot, and the majority of it is just a girl living her life in a town full of talking animals. But at the same time, is that not the most accurate representation of the game possible? The movie's plot is just like the game's plot. Sometimes you talk to people, sometimes you look for stuff, and sometimes stuff happens that you have to deal with for a few minutes before it's over, and then you just go back to doing whatever you want. And while that may not make this the most interesting movie, it does make this a good adaptation of the video game, and that's more than I can say for most other video game movies. Dobutsu no Mori is not a great film, but it did what it was supposed to do. It, for the most part, showed what living in the world of Animal Crossing would be like. It used both the game's style and atmosphere to create something that fans of the game would enjoy. To me, this movie is just fine, and that's as good as it needed to be. Okay, this might sound a bit weird, but I would recommend this film to any fan of Animal Crossing, but I wouldn't recommend buying the DVD of this movie unless you speak Japanese. The DVD does not have subtitles, and there are no plans to release this movie in English, which is honestly pretty disappointing to me. Yes, the games have evolved and changed since this film's release, but this movie still has value as an at least halfway decent video game adaptation. That's better than anything we got in North America. But you don't need to worry, because the internet exists and you can find a subtitled version quite easily. And there's even an English fan dub if you're so averse to reading. Overall, I'd say if you're a longtime fan of Animal Crossing, this movie won't disappoint you. So, Merry Christmas, and thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.